Welcome back to City Culture.
I'm Ravin.
And I'm Sarah.
And this is episode 4, and we are so excited to have Alderman of Ward 1, Jennifer Burgess, here with us.
Hello.
Miss,
Hi.
Alder
wonderful
ma'am.
Alder ma'am,
Alder
Alderwoman.
Alderman.
So tell us a little bit about you, Jennifer. Where are you from and what kind of made you decide to run for Alderman? What is happening with
My
your
hair. I had a hair going right there in my eyeball. Sorry,
Okay.
my bad.
That's fine.
Alderwoman problems.
Alderwoman
issues. Hair, makeup. Do I smell?
You smell
Is
lovely.
the double chin
Yeah,
out?
it's like Cobra.
Is
all
is
the
this
things that
called?
I didn't
Betsy?
really. I worried about them, but not to the level I do now. Meeting people.
So tell us a little bit about you, Jennifer.
Well, there's not much to tell, but I have lived here in Ocean Springs for about 18 years. But I'm from Mobile and grew up there. But I did grow up on the coast. I've got friends that were born and raised here, so my stomping grounds kind of went from
Extended over
Destin
here.
all the way to New Orleans.
Yeah.
So
That's a fun stomping ground.
it is rather large territory to cover.
Right. All right.
But yeah, so been married for 27 years.
Is that a question mark?
Yeah.
Robbie.
Well, no, it's interesting. I have this little trick that I do because our son is 17 and he was born 10 years, like to the month. So we were married in March.
Your marriage was born.
Yes, it blossomed in March. And my son was born in February, right there at the 10-year mark. So I always just add 10 years to his age, and that's how I know.
Yeah.
Isn't that terrible?
You gotta,
that's a great trick.
Yeah, you have to have your tricks to keep up. I mean, you got a lot going on.
Well,
usually.
and we had him late, because I was 35 when I had him.
Is that late?
Supposedly, yes. I don't think it was late, but
I'm not stressing. It's fine.
no, you'll be fine. Just wait.
Just wait.
Take your time. You have plenty of time. But no, yeah. And I told Robbie, I said, I'm not even going to consider having a child until, I had a 5-vacation rule. So we had to go on at least 5 vacations, and I'm not talking a weekend in Gulf Shores. Like I wanted to get on a plane and go somewhere.
Yeah.
And it ended up being 10 years.
Took you
10 years to 10 years
Hey,
to take
it's
5
expensive.
vacations because we were young and ish and just finding our niche and career wise and trying to save money and buy a house and all that. And it took me a little while to have Zach actually. I had 2 miscarriages and I found that that's very common.
Yeah.
Women started coming out of the woodwork. So yeah, Zach was 3 was the charm.
Aww.
And so it took a little longer than we thought.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And you were working through all of that?
I was working, yeah.
What's your day-to-day look like?
Now?
Mhm.
Well, I have a full-time job. I'm an account executive for Deaconess Hospice, which is relatively new transition. I was in clinical for a while. I've done industrial sales predominantly. That's where I kind of really grew, was industrial. But what was the question?
What is your day-to-day?
Okay. So I work full time, and then the alderman thing kicks in the evenings throughout the day as well.
For sure.
And
Well,
then
I
But
get
how
emails
does-
from you all the time.
But how does your day-to-day lead you into being an alderwoman, you think?
oh gosh, no, they are two totally
Two
different
totally
things.
different things.
Yeah.
So how did becoming an alderman even how is that a part of your life now? How'd you make that decision?
Well, it's funny that you said that because I've had people tell me, oh, it's a calling, or I've been called. I was called to do that. And I'm going to be perfectly frank. I used to look sideways at those people. I was like, whatever. What's a calling?
I think a lot of people can
But
feel the same way as you right now.
well, like doubting Thomas, I had to fill the holes in the hands and all that because it is a calling. And what that looks like, or at least for me, what it looked like was, oh, I don't know. I don't think so. Really? No, I could never do that.
Right.
And you've only run once, right?
This is your first term.
This is my first term, yeah. So probably it was about 3 years before this last election, I had some ladies had kind of planted the seed and said, you should be an alderman. I think you'd be good at it. But I was already sitting on 5 boards. My husband was like, if you join another board.
Yeah.
because I just really, since when we moved here, I wanted to plug in. And it just, I don't know, it wasn't filling enough. And then they made that suggestion. So I started doing research on it, and I was like, "Ugh, really?" I mean, it seemed intriguing at the time, but
Where do you think your passion for plugging in came? You think being a mom, being part of a community, just
I've always
growing
been
as
a
a
social
person?
person.
Yeah.
I do enjoy engaging with people.
Mhm.
I do. I'm not. I will never say I'm a people person because I've met people.
People,
person.
people.
I've met
That's a
people,
phrase.
and I'm not like that.
Wait, what do you always say when we see you out? That you're like,
You didn't see me.
no, you're like,
You're not
you're like,
seeing me.
hi, I'm Jennifer. I have a disorder.
People have said to me before, they're like, "I just really like your personality," and I'm like, "Thanks. It's a disorder." I can't take credit for it.
I think that's why you're so personable, even if you're not trying to be a people person. Just because you you have faults and you just sort of embrace them and make fun of them, and I do the same thing. I understand. I'm like, I know I'm weird.
It's my coat of many
Yeah.
colors. I wear
But, like,
it right there.
You came in to this position with some goals,
I did.
and you definitely started conquering them immediately. So, can you tell us about kind of where you started your list of goals to even begin?
Well, it was not me. When I was campaigning, so there's 865 houses in Ward 1, and I knocked on pretty much all of them. So I had my I had my spreadsheets, and I just went door to door and I asked people, do you have any issues? What would you like to see?
Yeah.
Suggestions, things like that. And so people, for the most part, were very forthcoming. And so that's where the list generated from. And it started with, speeders. It started with, good Lord, Fort Bayou. I mean, I have bus drivers telling me Fort Bayou is the wettest neighborhood after rain. I mean, it just holds water.
Yeah.
What else? There was, well, of course, the sidewalk thing never goes away, but I'm working on it. But sidewalks, the boat launch, suggestions with that. Just lots of different things, the entrances, just making them look more attractive. Street signs. They wanted the decorative street signs. Paving,
Of course.
So, okay.
ditches.
Right. Right.
So, in your career, are you normally working with a good mix of men and women, or more men than women?
Now I'm working with a good mix of men and women. But prior to getting into the clinical field, I worked predominantly with men.
And so, transitioning into being an alderwoman, working on a board of just men, you're the only female.
I actually like it that way. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah, for sure.
It's easy. And I think, I think there's a lot of women that will identify with what I'm about to say.
I feel like there should be music behind this.
Dun, dun, dun,
stop.
dun.
Yeah, thank you, Raven.
I gotta
dun.
tell a funny story. So when I was during the mayoral campaign,
Yeah.
That thing.
I was at a party, and a friend of mine, I had asked her. I said, well, so who do you like for mayor? And she said, Melanie Allen. And I was like, great. I said, what do you like about her campaign? And she said, boobies on the board. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And she said, boobies on board. And I was like, I heard you the first time. I'm trying to figure out what that means.
Right.
And I was like, well, wait a minute. What do you like about my platform? And she just looked at me and I was like, really? Come on.
Right.
And it was very disappointing because I told her, I said, I get the solidarity and I appreciate that. I really do. And we do need more women in politics, but we need the right kind of women, not just the ones
The fact
with boobs.
that they are.
Right. A woman.
Yeah.
Yes. And I feel like that needs to be addressed. But so having said that, I did meet another board. I can't remember what city it was. They have 2 alderwomen.
Yeah.
And they both said to me, they were like, 1's great, 2's better, 3 is horrible.
Like
And I was like, let me
office
think about
drama.
this for a second. Okay. And yeah, I get that
Mhm.
because I have worked in environments where women just, if there's too many of them and the type of personality that you have to have, there's clashes. There's
Oh, for
clashes
sure.
there and it doesn't get resolved.
Do you find yourself pretty agreeable with the other aldermen, or like you're standalone most
I don't think you
days?
should ask me that question. I think you should
No,
ask them that
spill
question.
the
Do you
tea.
find Jennifer to be agreeable? They'll be like, whatever.
You
Yes.
think?
No, I think I am pretty agreeable. I'm pretty open to any conversation. I will absolutely have
Well,
a conversation about anything.
I guess I mean, like, when there's an issue and y'all are trying to resolve it, like, do you guys usually agree on the solution, or is it usually you're solely in your own opinion? And
No, not just me. There'll be little pockets.
For sure.
So it'll be, I have a position and then somebody else agrees with me and then, well, they don't really agree. And then, so there's little pockets there. And what we try to do, or at least what I try to do is say, okay, why do you feel that way? Sell me. My background is sales. So it's like, sell me on this idea.
Right.
Why am I wrong?
Mhm.
What am I not seeing?
Mhm.
Sometimes it's effective, sometimes it's not. And in those cases, I have stood my ground.
okay, I have a question for both of y'all because you deal in politics way more than I do. Thank God. So, what's the most political move you've ever had to make?
First of all, I'm not a politician, so
Whatever, Mayor Nettles.
So that's a dangerous question, and the reason
yeah.
I say that is because there's a lot of strategy that goes on with being on this board and being in politics in general, and it's a lot of I kind of liken it to poker.
Mhm.
You've got your cards, you keep your cards close to your vest. You play the cards that you want them to see, and there's nothing personal about it. We all get along great, but we have to represent our people. And if
Right.
we know that there's something coming down the pipe, or if I know that there may be some pushback on, or if I'm trying to line something up a certain way, yeah, no, I'm not going to give you I'm not going to give you a scenario because then I would be showing my hand.
Right.
Right.
But yes, that is though a good question.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's tactics that I employ and that they
Yeah.
employ to manipulate is such a negative word.
But yeah.
But yes, you are pulling levers and you're moving and you're lining up and it's like chess.
Mhm.
And you have to, it's like, okay, if I say this now, that's not
It's
gonna work. I
kind of
gotta
all
hold
about
back.
where the intention lies,
Well,
before
you're just
before
trying to
you
get
make all
things
those
done.
moves, because you're learning different people's personalities and how they're gonna take it and how it's gonna
Trying to
affect.
guess how they're gonna
Yeah.
vote.
You're like,
and things
that
like
person
that.
tells everybody everything, and then that person's gonna take me
This
the
one's
wrong
got
way
no
no matter what I
filter.
say.
Yeah. I used to tease, and I don't know, Mike Gimpy, when I first came on board, I used to call him the Sphinx because I could never read him.
The
Yeah.
Spanx
The
or the
Sphinx.
Sphinx?
Sphinx.
Oh, I thought you
Not
said
the
Spanx.
Sphinx.
I was like, I need to hear more about this story.
No, the Sphinx, and that is a compliment. To
Yeah,
him.
for
I mean,
sure.
he was
Because
He
he's cool,
can
calm, and
poker face.
collected.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
he
never
is.
know what he's thinking sometimes. Meanwhile, I'm over there. I've had people tell me, Jennifer, you got to quit with the facial expressions during the meetings.
Um,
I'm over there going, huh? Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Get
I
it
got
together.
I got to fix
So
that.
so before you were elected for Ward 1, John Gill was the
Mhm.
alderman for Ward 1, and he is the longest serving alderman in the state of Mississippi.
The history of Mississippi.
History of Mississippi. And he is proud of that title.
He is very
Um,
rightly
and he
so.
did some great things for Ward 1. So tell us a little bit how it's been with that transition of Ward 1 having a John Gill all this time, and now, going as Jennifer Burgess as their new representative.
Yeah, so he did a lot in 36 years, and he wasn't always the alderman for Ward 1 during his
Right.
36 years. It was, gosh,
Ward
don't make
6?
me lie. It was 2 other wards, so I
Right.
think he had 3 wards total, but he
Okay,
ended
that's
with Ward
interesting.
1. Well, because
Be
it
the
moved around.
lines or okay.
Well, possibly that, and then he also lives someplace else.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and I think the feedback that I've gotten, and John is particularly proud of me in this regard, is that in the past 5 years I've done a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, like more than he's done in a big frame of time. And to his credit and in his defense on that, you know, the city didn't have money. I mean, the city was broke.
City was broke.
And so about the most he could do a lot of times was just landscaping, you know, and that's why, and he would use his alderman funds for that. And so I am getting, it's interesting. I've got some people who are like wanting to scrutinize over how I spend my alderman money. And I spend it on, you know, I try to spread it out amongst all the neighborhoods. And so if I focus a little bit too much one year on Monticello or Culleoka, which I did with the street signs, the next year I'm going to focus a little bit more on Fort Bayou and just kind of balance it out. But it's not on landscaping stuff. It's actual, you know, like playground equipment, the street signs, things that are more that people want. So yeah, and I've been getting a lot of feedback. A lot of the infrastructure stuff that I've done, it's underground, it's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Unless your property's right there on what we're doing, you're not going to see it. You're not going to know. Whereas with the landscaping, that's in everybody's face. And I do get calls from John all the time. You know, we need to fix this on the needs new sod. And I'm thinking,
are you my boss?
I'm trying to do infrastructure stuff. I don't care about landscaping. I need to care.
What are you most proud of that you've done since becoming alderman?
The water situation in Fort Bayou Estates. It is dry. There are 4 spots left, and we've got an engineer coming in.
So tell us a little bit about what the
next.
water situation was.
So a lot of it was just the water not funneling. So the water would sit right in an intersection. And so what we did is Sarah and I got together and we identified all these areas and we put concrete. They're called swales. And basically it's just creating like a bowl. And in a lot of cases, you know, they had this gutter, and driving over it, you had to go really slow.
Yeah.
And if you were towing a boat, forget it. We had, in every one of those water spots, we had that kind of situation. So it was kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So it made it easier to drive over it, and it funneled the water. And because it was easier to drive over it, as you did, it pushed the water out.
Yeah.
And then it would go into the catch basins. So, oh yeah, there was, golly, don't make me count because that'd be boring, but there was a lot of those types of situations, and we put the concrete swales in, and they're gone.
Yeah.
These last 4 are really getting on my nerves. We couldn't figure it out, so that's why we're bringing an engineer. I mean, between Sarah and I, we could figure out what the problem is. And we're like, no, we need an engineer
Sarah
for these
Harris,
4.
not me.
She is the bomb. She is so awesome.
She is great.
Is organized.
That's Raven's other best friend.
No, rightly so. She
Her
is
other
awesome.
Sarah.
Thanks for clarifying for
What?
the world.
Yes, to the world. What?
No, she was a solid hire, and I was very excited when she came on board. And oh yeah, she has hit the ground running and tackled so much stuff and done it right, efficiently. She doesn't play. Love her to death. So yeah, she's awesome. And I mean, everybody that I've worked with, that's another thing too. I mean, it's one thing to say I'm proud of what I've done. I haven't done it by myself.
That was
No
like the
way.
thing I was
Public Works-
wondering is who have you, like, what department have you most
Oh my
enjoyed
gosh.
working with?
Oh, enjoyed or like?
I'm just trying to
So I
start
work
drama.
with Public Works. Alan, I tease. I'm like, I know y'all have like a picture of me on the wall that you throw darts at. And they were like, no,
Pin a tail on
it's
ya.
a small picture, so they miss a lot, you know. But yeah, Public Works. Alan has been fantastic, and Sarah, and code enforcement.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing. There were a lot of houses in Fort Bayou Estates that were some of the Section 8. They were rentals. The property owners could not give a flip. They were horrible. And I identified those almost immediately. And then we had some houses that were just bad. There was a house over on Courtney that was considered the cat house.
Yeah.
And I mean, there were literally the feral cat coalition came and trapped them all and took them. And there were probably 20.
Oh God.
Oh, you could smell the house before you came up on it. It was bad.
Well, that's not to say that Section 8 or rental
That
houses
one
are
wasn't a
bad.
Section 8
but,
house,
you know, just having people take pride in the property.
Right.
I just want
Right.
to clarify that.
Oh, well, of course. There was only a handful. I think there was only 2 Section 8
Mhm.
houses, and those were just in disrepair. The ones
Right.
I'm talking about, the cat house and all those are just regular houses that people had that didn't
Right.
care. But basically, working with code enforcement, and I had a friend of mine who was a realtor, and I would talk to the neighbors on either side and just say, hey, give me a heads up if you see movement. If you see them wanting to move,
Yeah.
if they're leaving, call me. Because, the problem is if you get code enforcement involved too early, some of these landlords will blame the renter and kick them out. And I didn't ever want to have a situation where I've had somebody forced out of their home.
Right.
So I would just sit back and wait. And then when I saw movement, immediately I had code enforcement on them. And that timing worked out perfectly because all code enforcement then had to do was do a walkthrough. And they were finding all kinds of stuff, obviously. And so the owners had to get it fixed. And because the housing market was going in such a great direction, they're like, hey, you know what? If I'm going to take the time to actually do what I'm supposed to do in this house and remodel it,
Yeah.
I'm going to sell it.
Yeah.
And so they did. So we don't have as many rental properties in Fort Bayou Estates as we did when I first came on board. And I'm very proud of that because rentals will lower your property value. And there's been, these short-term rentals. We have 2 in Fort Bayou Estates, and no problems at all because they maintain the property. I try to encourage people to look, if you're going to allow a long-term rental, you might want to look at short-term rental too because of the way the property. You're not going to have a neighbor moving in that's just going to trash the place like some of these rentals.
These are very specific conversations you're having. And like normally
I'm
when
all
I'm
over
with
the
you,
map.
your phone's blowing up and you're answering every phone call and talking to these individuals who are part of the community for all their different issues. It's not, it's not as the bigger picture as it is like you're going in and handling things very specifically is what I notice about you. Is that incredibly time consuming? Do you like give up a part of your private life to give
Oh yeah.
to the community as an alderwoman?
Well, that was something.
Alderwoman.
That was something that alderwoman. I swear I'm going to take a left turn here, but I just feel like I have to put my hands on my hips when I say alderwoman.
Yeah.
Alderwoman.
Alderwoman.
It is
Here
kind
to
of a
save the day.
superhero.
Crazy. I wish it could be just alderman. I really wanted that on my cards, and they wouldn't let me. Anywho,
Who wouldn't let you?
I don't call you
Vicky.
Alderwoman.
no, it's just too much, and
Yeah.
people stumble over it all the
Yeah.
time. So alderwoman. Just
But you're just
Alderman.
I have alderman
Yeah.
on my card. It's easier, and that's fine. But no, to answer your question, before I even ran, I knew, and I'll say this still. I'm going to run again. I am hoping to get reelected, and I'd like to parlay into a full-time. I mean, I could make this a full-time job. I know I could.
Yeah.
Just because of, and it bothers me that I can't spend as much time on certain things as I'd like to. I'm addressing it and I'm getting it done, but I'm my own worst critic. So I kind of
So say you're reelected. Was there anything you would do different for the next 4 years?
Oh yeah, no, I got new projects. I got
What-
new things that I want to
well-
focus on.
Well, what's like one thing that you would do differently than you've done in the last 4 years? Just maybe even, not even like specifically a project, but maybe the way it was handled. Oh, sorry.
No, the only thing is that's been a disappointment so far is I was really hoping from from not just a transparency standpoint, but I wanted to communicate more. That's why I wanted to run, is I wanted to get people more in the know. We as a city do a fantastic job of pushing information out.
As best as possible.
Well, as much as we possibly
Yeah.
can, given our staffing and our bandwidth. We don't have the bandwidth to be constantly doing stuff on social media and things
And
like
also
that.
working, yeah.
And right. I mean, we would have to have a team that would be website, social media, answering phones, things like that.
And that's right here.
Right. I know. Well, that's too much.
It is.
And I came into this role just being overly ambitious as ever and thinking that I was going to do newsletters. But I couldn't get everybody's email address, and I couldn't afford to do mailers like that. I mean, that's expensive.
It's very expensive.
And this is my dime. I mean, I paid for my initial campaign on my own. I went out, took a little signature loan, and I did some campaign fundraisers. Not really, and I didn't really raise any money.
Yeah.
So I'm what I would do differently this go around is do some campaign fundraisers
Because
to
now
help
you
offset my
know
loan.
the people now. You've networked.
Well, and I get it. I mean, people don't want to invest their money on. I'm a coin toss at this point. They don't really know. So now with this reelection, I think people will be more willing to invest in my campaign, and
Because
to
you've
support
proven
me
your
that
worth.
way.
Absolutely.
We'll see. I'm not relying on that, but I would do that differently. I would do fundraisers, but also just communication wise, the social media thing did not pan out the way I wanted it to. I was, and I did at the very beginning. I was all on social media, pushing information out, and now because I have an Alderman page, Facebook algorithms are lovely to conservative, Republican politicians. So my stuff doesn't get seen. It's the darndest thing I've ever seen. I manage and run 5 Facebook pages. And my Alderman page, the data analytics is pathetic. It's my husband and like 2 other people. Like, that's it. So I have to take my posts,
Well, is your data analytics showing you the views or the likes?
both.
Because I view a lot of things. I don't like it.
The views.
I not like I don't like what they're posting. I don't like the
Like,
post.
literally.
You don't interact with it. I get
Right.
it. You just view it. No, my views are poop. And so it's like, it's not being seen. But if I attach it to a group page, it gets seen. So in the beginning, so Culleoka has a group page, Monticello has a group page, and Fort Bayou States has a group page. So that's great. I can put my posts on those pages and they'll get seen. But I was also putting my posts, or sometimes it would get screwed up and it would be my personal name instead of my Alderman name sharing it, but I didn't care. I mean,
Right.
people recognize the name.
Yeah.
And I would post on, these different pages throughout Ocean Springs. That I had to pull back off of that because it was getting
Ugly.
bad. Yeah, and it sucked. It really did because
What's
I
your
really wanted to
perspective
do
on
some
Talk of the Town? Talk of the Town. Is it
Talk of the Town.
Talk of, I don't know.
Well,
I'm not part of
it started off, it was great. And I mean, it has how many, 30,000 people on there? We only have like 18,000 and some change people that live here.
Now we're at 20,000.
Is it 20,000?
We are becoming a reality
Well,
show.
no. I'm talking about that page. That page is like 30,000. It's like a
Right.
ridiculous amount of people.
It's
that
more
don't live
people
here.
that
don't
yes.
live here.
Don't live here.
And, I'm not going to lie, there have been times I have pulled up a chair and grabbed some popcorn, But, and there was a time where I really did utilize it. And I know Ricky did too, because somebody would complain about something with a
Just nip it
picture.
in the bud.
And I'm like, boop. And I would
Yes,
I would
for
text him
sure.
a picture of it, or he would text me a pic. Somebody threw a grocery cart in the water at the boat launch in Fort Bayou States.
Yeah.
And Ricky texted me and he was like, "Have you seen this?" And it was early in the morning. And I was like, "Crap, no." So Robbie goes running down there, and I'm like, "What are you? You're not gonna get it out." He was like, "I got a gaff hook." He couldn't pull that thing out for nothing. Anyway, long story short, we got it taken care of because it was going to jack up somebody's boat.
Yeah.
It was just under the
Oh,
water.
man.
You wouldn't have been able to see it. And so that kind of thing, it
Yes.
was very useful. And I did love interacting when somebody had like a legit question.
Right.
I would love to, and then promoting. On Mondays they had where you promote a business, and I have a lot of private business owners in Ward 1. And so I would love, providing information and that. But now it's just gotten so nasty. You can't. Well, I mean, really, people have
A
no
good thing always
filter,
has to get spoiled, by
and nobody
somebody.
asks a question anymore, like a legit question.
They just put a statement out there that's
Well, it's
not.
aggressive. Okay, it's not a question that they actually want to know the answer. They want. The way I said it the other day is it's baiting. They're just putting stuff out there to bait us to play a game of gotcha.
So maybe
So they
in
want
your
to catch
next,
me in something.
Right.
maybe in your next reign, if reelected, you could find some solution to the way communication's happening on social media between city and community. Because
Yeah,
it's become an increased problem. And
Well, I don't know if that problem will ever end.
No, because you're not going to change people's
and
hearts.
we don't facilitate that. So
No.
like it's like people going out to the bar and gossiping or whatever.
Well,
But now it's on social media. But I've always followed Talk of the Town, even when I didn't live here, because of that reason of being able to, some people do post random, like,
Legit question.
legit questions, or some kind of problem is happening, and it's because we can't be everywhere all the
Right.
time, and it's easy to quickly address something, because they are bound to put it out there, and they will go to social media first before they'll call City Hall and say, hey, there's a problem, can you go fix it?
But see, that's so jacked up.
It
My
is, but
opinion. That really is.
but that's
you've
the way
got a-
the
I mean, if
world
you're-
is.
it's quick.
if you need your garbage picked up, are you going to call your cable company?
I'm just gonna
No,
go
I mean,
online
you're-
and complain about it.
No, but you're gonna. What I'm saying is you go to the source. Okay, you don't. If you've got a problem with something, call your alderman, call City Hall. Okay, I get it if you don't get the results that you want within 48 hours
Immediately,
or something
yeah.
like that. I mean, within a reasonable amount of time. I didn't want to go to 72. That's like way too
That was
long.
way-
That's way too long. But 24 to 48 is a nice little round number. But yeah, I mean, it depends on what it is. Obviously, if it's an emergency. But I don't really see people putting emergency situations
No.
on Talk of the Town. It's just, and a lot of it's after the fact too.
Yes.
It'll resolve itself or whatever, or it won't, and they'll go on Talk of the Town. What I do like about Talk of the Town here lately is that certain people are now posting on Talk of the Town their rhetoric, and there's so many people that the reality is starting to hit them that they are not representing all of Ocean Springs.
Right.
And so that's a positive because, I think in some situations you're entitled to your opinion and you're entitled to have your voice heard. Absolutely. But absolutely. I'm going to start using that on purpose. Absolutely. But that's where your entitlement ends. You know what I'm saying? And I think some people struggle with that. They think their entitlement extends a little bit further.
Yeah.
You're not entitled to disparage someone because they don't agree with you. You're not entitled to drag someone's character, the mayor and the board of aldermen through
Right.
the mud and make baseless, horrible accusations, by the way, because we aren't doing things the way you think they need to be done. You're not entitled to do that. And you're not entitled, and I'm sorry to say this, you're not entitled to speak for anyone other than yourself.
Right.
I love this, nobody wants this. Everybody thinks this way. We don't know. The word is I. I don't like this. Not we don't like this. Okay, you're not entitled to represent like that.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating. I'm not going to lie, but I've said this 1,000 times, and I'm going to brag on my Ward 1 people too. The majority of people in Ocean Springs, they're the charm. That's what I fell in love with when I moved
Right,
here.
right.
It was I had dear friends here, and the people are what really drew me in, and that's why I wanted to plug in.
Yeah.
We have a lot of free thinkers here, people with ideas and passions who actually pursue them. And I love watching that. I love watching that in our community. People just working daily towards their goals, and their goals definitely have something to do with the community. I think that's something we can all relate back to.
And going back to the thing, doing it differently too. We are not everything has to be a knife fight.
Yes.
Okay, we can come to the table and we can talk and we can collaborate and we can share ideas
And disagree.
And you know what? It's eye-opening sometimes. We may think that that's the right way, and when another idea is presented, it's like, okay,
Right.
let's see how we can mesh this. But certain groups have created such a hostile environment that's not going to happen. I mean, I recoil. I'm not going to make myself vulnerable like that.
Right.
I'm not going to subject myself to that because there's a lot of these individuals that I have reached out with to, and I have spent significant amount of time in their homes, on the phone, meeting over coffee,
Right.
where I've had conversations and I've left with hugs and, oh my God, thank you for the time. And then boom, they are right back on there with
their
the same
game.
narrative.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, wow, that was a complete waste of my time.
Not really,
Would you
though.
say that's
no,
something
but I mean, that was
you've
unproductive. It didn't do anything.
is would you say that's something that you've learned in your time as alderman? Us going through this turmoil of, trying to really engage with the public. And, you and I have had conversations about, reaching out to these certain groups. And I'm like, Jennifer, I just don't want you to go in there. They're going to go. You're like, no, I'm going to do it. It's better for me in my mind to have a face-to-face conversation with them. And I get off the phone with Jennifer and say, that lady's crazy.
Well, I'm still doing it though.
It is admirable because it gets tiring, and I don't think you're tired yet. I don't think you're tired yet of trying to engage with anybody,
I
or
haven't
at
gotten
least
to that.
having a conversation.
I don't think I'm ever gonna get there.
Yeah.
Because I haven't. I refuse to grow that cynical.
Yeah.
But it's who you are.
Well, and I'm. That is part of my job. It's part of the job, whether
Right.
I like it or not. It's an unpleasant part, but it's part of the job. But here's the thing: I'm not going to concuss myself on the wall of a non.
Oh, no, that was a great word.
Right up there
Oh,
with
that one.
absolutely. What was
Absolutely.
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 You got to put an R in there.
I'm not going to do that with someone who's not a constituent.
Yeah. Got
So
it.
I'm not going to engage with somebody from Ward 2 or Ward 3 or Ward 4. I mean, I will,
Right.
but like I said, I'm not going to concuss myself on that wall. I'm
Yeah.
not going to charge on that. Now, my Ward 1 babies, yes. I will message them privately, or I'll call them if they have their number, and I'll say, hey, it looks like you've got some questions about this.
Yeah.
I take screenshots. I got 2 that I'm about to make this week that I've seen. I've got the screenshots. I'm going to reach out to them and just say, hey, you're obviously feeling some emotions here. I'm your alderman. Let me have it. What's going on? Talk to me.
Which is great.
And 9 times out of 10, they absolutely respond and walk away from the encounter, at least, pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
They're like, whoa,
least
I
a
didn't
different
expect that
tone.
at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had one, he put something on there that was not the nicest thing about me. It was kind of ridiculous. And he was getting a lot of heat for it. So there were people just
Backing
bashing
you
him,
up.
backing me
Is
up.
that the post that I accidentally liked?
Yes.
She was
She did. She liked it. I was like, Raven, did you even read the post? She's like, I don't know. Maybe I was just trying to remember. I was like, whatever.
I don't know.
Whatever.
They're like, you liked it. I said, I did.
I know. And
Whoops.
so, no, I called him up and I was like, hey, I said,
Real helpful.
I
know.
saw this post and I just want to let you know, blah, 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 blah. And I kind of outlined that that's not true. And here's why. And here's what I am doing. And I was like, look, I said, you're getting a lot of like ugly remarks because of it. Because there's people that are backing me. Would you consider just taking it down? And he was like, no, absolutely. I'm going to. I didn't know all this and blah, blah, blah. So it was great. It was a good interaction. It was positive.
Yeah.
I mean, he still goes out there and says stuff, but whatever,
I like to remind people that the city, it's unrealistic for us to think that people are not going to disagree with us or that they have concerns or, they, bring other issues to the table for us to, consider. It's all about their tone and how they
Ask the question.
ask the questions or
well,
it
they
feels
jump to conclusions.
jump
too.
to
There's not even
conclusions
a
or
question
feel
there.
like there's an attack.
Yeah.
I am an advocate for engaging, I guess that's why I'm in this role, but like communicating with our public. And, I post stuff all the time and I know it's going to be contentious and all night long I'm like checking because I don't want people to attack us. I want things to be informational and blah, blah, blah. And you do such a great job at doing that. So
I try. I don't. That's the disappointing part. Is I came out just. I was like, yes, and now I'm like, ugh, no, I'm not putting that out there. I'm
Yeah.
not going there. You
Yeah.
know, and it sucks. I don't like that, and
Well,
I need
it's
to
all about
reevaluate
finding
that.
balance. Like when you get into anything, whether it's a relationship or a job or whatever, you go into it with the best intentions and all these ideas, but then you have to take care of yourself, your mental state, and find that balance of, okay, this is the battle I'm going to choose today.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you're going to get hit with throughout the day either. So
Well, and you need to know when to okay, you pick your battles.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And that's across the board. That's being a parent, that's in any job, you pick your battles. And the same with being an alderman. I mean, there's stuff that I'm like, really? Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to that's not the battle I want to fight today. I'm not going to die on that hill.
Right.
And so,
Okay,
We do bowl.
bull time. Bull time.
well, wait, I was going to say something about the battles because if I know my people, and there are some people that I'm just not going to engage with at all. And I've told them
Because
as
you've
such,
learned that. About
because there's
them.
nothing. Yeah.
Right.
But I have to say that I'm going to go back into it again, and I'm going to try better to do more stuff on social media. Now that I've identified who my haters are, I don't fall into that, and I just
mean you're
ignore
popular
them.
now?
No, how can nobody like me? I don't get it.
Absolutely. Okay.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Me? Okay. All right. Okay. Cruising the Coast or Peter Anderson Festival? Which one's your favorite?
Golly. I like both for different reasons.
Oh, you can pick one.
I'm going to say cruising the coast. You know why? Because I come out not broke. How about
There
that?
you
Okay.
go.
Deal.
Because Peter
'Cause-
Anderson, I'm always like, I'm having like buyer's remorse so bad. But it is cool. I have like a nice swing in front of my house and some other things.
Okay. This is for both of you. Bike rides or golf cart rides?
Golf cart. If you see me on a bike, it's not pretty. The
Golf
witches-
cart at work, bike ride after work.
Yeah, see, she's active like that.
Yes.
When I did the witches ride the first year they did it, I had a regular bicycle. And I was like, note to self, this is never happening again. Because I had my little drink holder, right? And I'm throwing candy from the basket in the front. Well, I go to throw candy and nothing. I mean, I'm throwing it literally in front of the bike.
Can we start the episode with that moment?
I'm throwing the candy in front of the bike and the kids are running in front of my bike. I'm like, I'm going to
Bad
catch it.
idea.
And so I had friends of mine that were just laughing hysterically because this was not pretty at all. I mean, I was losing all kinds
You're going to
of
be
cool
on
points.
like the front of the newspaper.
No,
Alderwoman
this
runs
was
over
I was
small
not
child.
an alderman at this time.
Oh, okay.
Thank the Lord. So, but no, because it was the first time ever that
Right.
they had it, and so you would circle right in front of Tater Nut, I think, and come back again.
Mhm.
And so I was like, oh shoot, I've got to turn. The turning. We're turning. So I almost took out the parade coming from the other direction because I lost control and I was going back into the parade route. It was disastrous. The last piece of candy I threw went right into this little kid's bucket.
Perfect.
I know. My friend was like, no way.
So you got better.
So I ended on a good note. So I drive the little tricycle now.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now I did the
you
golf
golf
cart. Yeah.
I
that
stuck
was
to
the
the
tricycle.
skull
I went
in
from
my
bike
closet.
to tricycle to golf cart. And it's a public service, really.
Okay, this is a really hard question. 11 or the Red Apple Lounge?
Let's see. Oh, gosh. I don't really want to tell the answer. Why?
But you know what's the good thing? The owner is the same.
I
so
know
you really
it is.
can't
So it's
offend
not
anybody.
that. I'm not offending anybody, I don't think. I like 11 because there's one good cocktail at Red Apple. Red Apple's very intimate, and it's good if you can get a good spot. It's very intimate, and so I like that. And it's dark. And
Yeah.
it's, it
Nighttime
depends on your
vibes.
mood, but I love 11 on a pretty day. You know, I mean, day drinking.
It's the best.
I said it was nice. You said it was the best. Day drinking. It's lovely.
All right. This feels like when we haven't. It won't apply to her.
Never.
What's one thing that people think about you that is totally untrue? We should start throwing them like that.
I know.
There you go.
That is totally untrue. That I'm mean.
People think you're mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I
They
think,
think I'm mean
assertive
or like
women
aggressive,
get that.
and
Yeah.
I think it's just the fact that I have a kind of a strong personality.
Mhm.
And I tell people all the time, I'm like, I'm not mean. If you truly knew, I'm a marshmallow. I mean, I might have like a chewy outside, or crunchy outside, but I'm a marshmallow
Roasted.
Are
filling.
you a Sour Patch?
Yes. Well, because I rescued a kitten, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes.
I made her save the story to tell you about this kitten. that she rescued.
And that
Now,
it shocked people. They're like, I
tell
thought
her
you
the
were me.
story about how you got this kitten.
I'm telling you, you want
Because-
to talk about, okay, here's another great word, serendipitous. Okay,
I like it 'cause
because
it
was
says my name.
serendipitous. Well, not
Sarah.
really. Kind of not. Anyway, no. So a friend of mine had a litter of kittens, and I was wanting a kitten. Okay, my son is 17. I don't know what this. I'm a little hormonal, and I was like feeling, kind of he doesn't need me anymore. I had a college cat that was the coolest cat ever, and she was so affectionate. His cat is from she's Satan. I mean, really, she only loves on him. My husband can't even think about petting her. She hisses at him.
Yeah.
So I just wanted my own cat. She's like, I got a litter of kittens. And so I was like, okay. And I picked one. I wasn't feeling good about it. I really wasn't. I was like, I don't know if this is really the cat for me and blah, blah. I literally am going to go pick her up. And I had the carrier in the back. I went and bought a little playpen from Amazon. Got it ready for the kitty. Not feeling it. But anyway, my mom wanted me to drop her off at Walmart on the way. So I grabbed her from the villa. And so we're heading east. And as we get to the stadium, Greyhound Stadium, these two cars, now this is lunch hour, so it's kind of a little congested. These two cars in front of me just violently go around what I thought was a piece of tire in the middle of the road, like where the little dotted lines were. Of course, I come up on it. I'm like, oh, hell no. It's a kitten.
You're on your way to get a kitten,
Yes.
and you run into a stray kitten
in the middle of the road.
in the middle of the road.
Oh,
Okay.
Highway 90.
Highway 90. Let's just
During lunch hour.
okay. Let's envision this.
It's very dangerous.
In an eighth of a second, I put my hazards on. My mother didn't even know what it was. She's like, what's happening? What's going on? I jumped out of the car with my heels on, stopped 2 lanes of traffic, and scooped up this little thing.
You jumped out of the car onto Highway 90.
I stopped traffic. Didn't even think twice.
Didn't even think twice.
And my mom was like, why do you have a carrier in the back? Because I didn't even tell her what I was doing. I was like, Mom, you don't even know what is going on. I'm like, Lord, what is this? So get this,
Fate,
even
apparently.
better. It was a female, okay? And her marking, she's a tortoiseshell, just like my college cat.
That kitten.
My college cat is a tortoiseshell, and she's still alive.
They have tortitude.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I love
We need
her,
a
but I
glossary
don't
of
like her.
terms for this episode.
I'm ready to not have cats
Fortitude.
anymore.
They live a long time and they have an attitude.
Yep.
So I was like, I called my friend. I was like, I can't come get this cat. She goes, right. You cannot get this cat. This cat's not meant for you. I knew it wasn't.
Right.
Weird.
Yeah. So another friend of mine said that it was the Cat Distribution Network or something about that. I
What is
didn't
that?
Google it. So that's like one of the things I hadn't had a chance to Google yet. I was like, what is you? She said everybody is designated to have a cat. And I was like, oh, no, I don't think that's true. But then after that day's event, I wasn't questioning anything.
That is
I
so
was like,
wild.
it's
That
so
was definitely
crazy.
fate. So, what'd you name
Oh,
this
yeah.
kitten?
Isabeau. And it's spelled
Isabeau.
Isabeau. And it's an 80s movie. My 80s movie people will know. But it's a movie called
We'll edit that.
You don't know.
Lady Hawk. I just blanked. Look, you get to be my
Oh,
age
Lady
and you're going
Hawk.
to have more and more of those moments.
You know what that's that movie?
Yeah.
Lady Hawk. It
Look,
has
Chris.
Michelle Pfeiffer. It's got
Yeah,
Matthew
yeah.
Broderick. It's got Rutger Hauer.
Y'all are older than me, so I don't know.
I'm only 6 weeks older than you.
You know, you can stop with that anytime. She reminds me constantly how much younger she is.
I know, and
Like,
you're a
you're gonna
mom,
get
so
there
it
eventually,
technically puts years
if
on
you're
you
lucky, right?
compared to
No,
my
it
age.
doesn't.
You're more mature than me, usually.
Facts, but you're still older than me. On paper.
That means you need to listen to me.
So she's named after the main character on that. I always loved that name, and I always loved the story. The soundtrack to that movie, though, because there's going to be people that are like, Lady Hawk, and they'll go watch it. Disclaimer, the soundtrack is just so
It's awful.
cheese.
Oh,
It's
what is
so
the 80s?
bad. It's like in the middle of the fight scenes, you're like, really? I would rather just listen to silence. It's bad. But at the end, it's awesome.
Okay, Jennifer, what is your final message to the community as Alderman of Ward 1?
You could have given me a heads up on that question.
I
So
know-
I could
well,
have been
you know,
prepared.
Well, you know, we
A
go
final
from
message
cat
to Ward 1.
stories.
Okay, no.
back
Final
to the
message
point.
to Ward 1. Honestly, I've said this. I've bragged about my people. You guys just continue to be awesome, okay? Because they are. They reach out to me when they need something, when they have a question. I mean, for the most part, they really do. please, I can't fix the problem if I don't know about it.
Right.
I'm not everywhere. I do drive through the ward every other weekend with my spreadsheets, like the nerd that they say I am. I don't care. If it's on the list, I'm going to get a t-shirt that says it's on the spreadsheet on the front and Public Works said 2 weeks on the back.
Yes, I want that too.
I love to look, sorry, but I'm not throwing Public Works. So they do a lot.
But
Right.
But
yeah,
he
I
always
mean,
tells me 2 weeks. Yeah, no, I know it's not going to be 2 weeks. But anyway, but no, just keep being awesome. Keep reaching out. I want ideas. What do you want to see? I don't care. Let me know what I can do. I've got my own ideas, but it's not about that.
You know how we have breakfast with the mayor and now it's like cappuccinos with cops and all these different things? Maybe we should do something with the alderman.
Is that that's a chamber
That's a
event,
chamber
though?
event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've spoken to Cynthia
Yeah.
about doing, because remember the Lions Club did
Mhm.
a state of the ward,
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they did it here.
but no, they didn't. They did it at Phoenicia's.
I thought
Ricky
they had
did
their
it
lines.
over at the
They
restaurant.
do their Lions
They-
meetings here, but
Oh.
not
No,
like-
they didn't do those.
Not that
And
event.
There was nobody recording, and the recording was terrible, the one that they did. And there wasn't a lot of, people showing up.
Yeah.
I can do it on my own. What's his name over from the bank has said, that I can use that room anytime. So I thought, well, I did a video,
Yeah.
and I want to do videos. I just really think that people don't show up. That's
Right.
the problem.
That
It's the same people that
You mean
show
like
up, and it's
you
the
want to
ones
like
that you don't want
live
showing
stream
up.
yourself and see people come in and discuss different topics, or you're like, I want to shoot a video and then release it?
Yeah,
We did that.
Shoot a video and release it.
Okay.
And I
did that
cover
last week.
all the high points. So it's like not unlike State of the City,
Right.
where you're presenting everything and then creating an environment to submit questions.
Right.
That to me is okay. I don't mind because the State of the City is different than having a town hall.
Right.
So a town hall is where people can ask questions, which I'm fine with, but I'm going to be honest. It's going to be the same. It's going to be the same people.
Right.
And it's the people that are nasty on Facebook to show up, and they don't, they don't do in person what they like to do behind a keyboard, but it's pretty close, and then, when I did that state of the ward at the Phoenicia's, there were people that just,
They had their own
one or
agenda.
two. Yeah. And then they went on social media and they bashed me, well, you said this, this, and this. Okay, well, that's the information I had on hand.
Right.
It's now a year and a half, 2 years later, it's changed.
Right.
It doesn't mean I'm a liar.
Right.
It just means the information and the plan has changed. But it's okay. It's that, like I said, that is not the majority of what I deal with. The majority I deal with is sunshine. People
good.
are really, yes. I have one in particular. God always lets me end the day with her when I've had a particularly trying day, and she's precious.
Well, good. Before we run out of time,
Yes.
because we're running out of
Oh,
time.
okay.
We just want to thank you for being here.
Yes.
Thanks for
I know
having
you're really nervous.
No, not really.
Not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Look, she's a pro now. We've always enjoyed working with you.
sure.
We both think you're doing a fabulous job.
Thank you.
And you've got a lot of things going. We couldn't possibly fit it into 45 minutes here, but thank you for sharing.
You're just a
with us.
great alderman, but you're a great person too.
Aw, stop.
You are. And we've had some struggles during the year, and you've always been there to kind of help support us personally. So we
Yeah,
appreciate
you guys put up a lot. You are the front line, and I always want to check on you guys to make sure it's like, are you hanging in there? All right, okay,
How's
good.
it going?
So,
Cool.
But yeah, thank you for always having good intentions and kind of fitting within the mission that we are always trying to portray through this podcast. So that is why you're on here. You are a really wonderful leader in Ocean Springs, and we very much appreciate you.
thank you.
Well, that's it, y'all. This is episode 4 of City Culture. I'm Ravin.
And I'm Sarah. Thanks for tuning in.